The quantum anomaly appeared on Dr. Sarah Chen's monitors like a whisper in the void. Most of her colleagues at the Deep Space Observation Post Theta would have dismissed it as background radiation, but 15 years of studying quantum fluctuations had taught her to trust her instincts. There was something almost musical about the way the particles danced across her screens. "Run it again," she ordered, her dark eyes fixed on the holographic display floating above her workstation. The computer obliged, replaying the last 30 seconds of sensor data from the Proxima Centauri colony's outer marker buoys. The same ethereal pattern emerged, quantum particles moving in ways that defied every known law of physics. Behind her, the observation deck hummed with the quiet efficiency of Earth's most advanced deep space monitoring station. Dozens of scientists and technicians worked at their stations, their faces illuminated by the soft blue glow of holographic displays. None of them had noticed what she saw. Not yet. Dr. Chen, her assistant, James Kumar, approached with a fresh cup of coffee. "The Galactic Council's quantum specialists are requesting our latest readings. They say their sensors aren't picking up anything unusual in the sector." Sarah accepted the coffee without taking her eyes off the display. "Of course they aren't," she murmured. "They're looking for what they expect to see." She made a gesture with her free hand, expanding the holographic image until it filled her field of vision. "Look at this, James. What do you see?" The young assistant stepped closer, his brow furrowing as he studied the quantum dance. "It's beautiful," he said finally, "like watching schools of fish, but made of light." "Exactly." Sarah smiled. "Natural quantum fluctuations don't move like that. This is structured, deliberate." She tapped a few commands into her console, and the image shifted to show similar patterns recorded over the past week. "And it's spreading." A priority alert flashed across her screen. Another transmission from the Galactic Council. Sarah ignored it. The Council, with all their advanced technology and artificial intelligence systems, were blind to what was happening. They had spent so many centuries relying on their quantum imaging arrays and predictive algorithms that they'd forgotten how to see the unexpected. The observation deck's main doors slid open with a soft hiss, admitting Admiral Helena Torres, commander of Earth's Deep Space Defense Initiative. The veteran officer moved with purposeful strides directly toward Sarah's station, her expression grave. "Dr. Chen, we've lost contact with Research Station Beta 7. Torres announced without preamble. "All quantum communications ceased approximately 3 hours ago. No distress signals, no debris field, nothing. It's as if the station simply ceased to exist." Sarah felt her blood run cold. Beta 7 was positioned exactly where she'd first noticed the quantum anomalies a week ago. She quickly pulled up the station's last transmitted data stream, overlaying it with her current observations. The patterns matched perfectly. "Admiral," she said, her voice steady despite her racing heart, "I believe we're dealing with something unprecedented. These quantum fluctuations, they're not natural phenomena. They're more like footprints." Torres leaned in closer, her military training evident in the way she analyzed the data with quick, efficient glances. "Footprints of what, Doctor?" "I don't know yet, but whatever it is, only human observers seem capable of detecting it. The Council's quantum AI systems filter it out as background noise because it doesn't match any known patterns in their databases." The Admiral straightened, her hand unconsciously moving to the command insignia on her uniform. "You're telling me Earth is the only civilization that can see this threat coming?" "Not Earth's technology," Sarah corrected, gesturing to her human colleagues around the room. "Human consciousness. Our brains evolved to recognize patterns in chaos, to see meaning in randomness. We don't filter out the unexpected. We're drawn to it." As if in response to her words, the quantum dance on her screens suddenly intensified. New patterns emerged, more complex and deliberate than before. Sarah's fingers flew across her console as she attempted to track the changes. "Admiral," she said, her voice tight with urgency, "whatever these things are, they're reacting to our observation. They know we can see them." Torres immediately activated her command interface. "This is Admiral Torres. I'm declaring a Level 1 alert for all deep space installations. Effective immediately, all automated systems are to be supplemented with human observers. If Dr. Chen is right, we might be the only warning system the galaxy has." As the alert went out, Sarah continued to watch the quantum patterns evolve. In all her years of research, she'd never seen anything like this. The movements were becoming more intricate, almost like a language written in light and probability. "James," she called to her assistant, "get me everything we have on human pattern recognition and quantum observation theory. If we're the only ones who can see them, there has to be a reason." The observation deck erupted into focused activity as the alert spread. Across the room, other scientists began reporting similar anomalies in their sectors, patterns that had been there all along but needed human eyes to recognize them. Sarah felt a mixture of excitement and dread as she watched the quantum dance continue. Humanity had spent centuries being dismissed as newcomers to the galactic stage, their organic minds considered primitive compared to the quantum AI systems of older civilizations. But now, those same primitive minds might be the galaxy's only hope of understanding what was coming. "Admiral," she said, never taking her eyes off the display, "I need a direct quantum link to every human observation post we have, and permission to proceed with an unorthodox experiment." Torres nodded without hesitation. "Whatever you need, Doctor. Right now, you're our best chance of figuring out what we're dealing with." As the quantum patterns continued their mesmerizing dance across her screens, Sarah Chen prepared herself for the challenge ahead. Humanity was about to prove its worth to the galaxy in a way no one could have predicted, not through superior technology or military might, but through the unique power of human perception itself. Captain Marcus Rivera stood on the bridge of the UVS Perception, watching his crew prepare for what could either be humanity's greatest breakthrough or its most spectacular failure. The experimental vessel represented Earth's latest attempt to merge human intuition with advanced technology, its systems designed to amplify rather than replace human consciousness. "Neural interface synchronization at 97%, reported Lieutenant Maya Puddle from her station, her fingers dancing across the biorhythm monitors. Each crew member wore a neural amplification band, connecting their pattern recognition abilities directly to the ship's sensors, all crew showing strong cognitive resonance. The Perception hung at the edge of the Arcturus sector, where 3 alien outposts had vanished in the past week. Traditional sensor suites showed nothing unusual, but the human observers stationed throughout the sector reported seeing the same quantum patterns Dr. Chen had discovered. "Status of the quantum field projectors?" Marcus asked, his dark eyes scanning the holographic displays surrounding his command chair. The technology was experimental, designed to translate human neural patterns into quantum frequencies, online and stable. "Sir," Chief Engineer David O'Connor responded from engineering. "Though I still say trying to broadcast human brainwaves into quantum space is crazy enough to work." Marcus allowed himself a small smile. The entire mission was crazy by conventional standards. While the Galactic Council's mighty warfleets patrolled the sector with their advanced AI systems, the Perception relied on the uniquely human ability to perceive patterns in chaos. "Contact." Maya's voice cut through the bridge's tension. Quantum fluctuations matching Dr. Chen's observations, bearing 037 Mark 12. The main view screen shifted, showing what appeared to be empty space to conventional sensors. But to the human crew, enhanced by their neural interfaces, it was like watching a school of crystalline fish moving through quantum currents. "They're beautiful," Maya whispered, voicing what everyone felt. The entities moved with impossible grace, their quantum structures refracting reality itself. "And deadly," Marcus reminded them. "Begin broadcast of the human neural pattern." The ship hummed as the quantum field projectors powered up, transmitting the combined consciousness patterns of the crew into space. Dr. Chen's theory suggested that human brainwaves might be able to interact with the entities in ways that artificial systems couldn't. The effect was immediate. The quantum entities paused in their movement, their patterns shifting from deadly purpose to something that looked almost like curiosity. On the neural feedback displays, Marcus could see his crew's collective consciousness reaching out, touching minds that operated on quantum principles. "Sir," Maya called out, her voice tight with concentration, "they're responding to our broadcast. The patterns, they're changing." Marcus watched as the crystalline entities began moving in new configurations, mimicking the rhythms of human thought. It was like watching two alien languages finding common ground in the dance of quantum probability. "Engineering, increase power to the neural amplifiers," he ordered. "Let's show them exactly what human minds can do." The entities drew closer, their quantum structures resonating with the ship's broadcasts. Through the neural interface, Marcus could feel them trying to communicate, not with words or images, but with pure patterns of thought. Suddenly, alarms blared across the bridge. "Multiple quantum distortions," Maya shouted. "Massive energy spike." Before Marcus could respond, space itself seemed to twist around them. The quantum entities had synchronized with their broadcast, creating a feedback loop that amplified both human consciousness and quantum effects to unprecedented levels. For a brief moment, Marcus saw reality through quantum eyes, probability waves, and possibility streams flowing like rivers through space. He understood why conventional sensors couldn't detect these beings. They existed in the spaces between certainties, in the quantum foam that underpinned reality itself. "Neural interfaces stable," Maya reported, her voice filled with wonder. "Sir, I think we just established first contact." The entities swirled around the perception, their patterns now perfectly aligned with the crew's neural broadcasts. Through their combined consciousness, Marcus received impressions of ancient programs and quantum directives, of a mission that had continued long after its creators had vanished. "Send a priority message to Earth Command," he ordered, never taking his eyes off the quantum dance before them. "Tell them we've made contact, and we need Dr. Chen here immediately. The entities aren't just responding to human consciousness, they're trying to teach us something." As the message was sent, Marcus reflected on the irony of the situation. The most advanced civilizations in the galaxy had dismissed human consciousness as primitive, relying instead on quantum computers and artificial intelligence. Yet it was that very primitiveness, the ability to see patterns in chaos, to think in possibilities rather than certainties, that made humanity unique. "Begin recording all neural feedback," he commanded. "Every pattern, every quantum shift. If we can understand what these entities are trying to tell us, we might just save the galaxy." The perception continued its quantum dance with the crystalline beings, human consciousness bridging the gap that no artificial system could cross. In the space between thoughts and probability waves, humanity had found its edge, not in technology or weapons, but in the very nature of human perception itself. Maya's console lit up with new data. "Sir, we're detecting similar quantum signatures from multiple sectors. The entities, they're gathering." Marcus nodded, understanding the implications. This wasn't just first contact. It was the beginning of something much bigger. Humanity had proven it could see what others couldn't, could comprehend what advanced AI systems filtered out as impossible. Now they just had to figure out what the entities were trying to warn them about before it was too late. The Galactic Council's emergency session erupted into chaos as the holographic display showed the destruction of New Alexandria, the largest trading hub in the Orion Arm. Dr. Sarah Chen watched from Earth's delegation pod as representatives from 24 civilizations argued over what they couldn't even see. "These phantom threats you humans claim to detect," the Zoraxian ambassador's translated voice boomed across the chamber, "conveniently appear wherever your ships are stationed. How do we know this isn't an elaborate deception?" Sarah stepped forward, her neural amplification band gleaming against her dark hair. "I've transmitted all our sensor data and neural recordings. The quantum entities are real, and they're following a pattern we've only begun to understand." The massive chamber, carved from a hollow asteroid, filled with dismissive murmurs. "The older species, particularly the Zoraxians and Vel, had dominated galactic politics for millennia through their advanced technology. The idea that primitive human brains could perceive something their quantum AI systems couldn't was more than their pride could accept. Dr. Chen, Admiral Torres's voice came through Sarah's private comlink. The perception is reporting unusual activity in the quantum field. Captain Rivera says the entities are agitated. Before Sarah could respond, every neural amp in the chamber suddenly pulsed with activity. Through the combined consciousness of the human observers present, she felt it. A massive quantum disturbance approaching the council station itself. Emergency protocols, she shouted, but the alien representatives only stared in confusion. Their sensors showed nothing wrong. The first wave hit like a tsunami of probability. Sarah watched in horror as quantum crystalline structures materialized throughout the chamber, visible only to human eyes. The entities moved with purpose now, their patterns sharp and aggressive. This is Dr. Chen. She broadcast on all frequencies. All ships with human crews begin neural broadcast pattern Delta. We need to establish communication before. The station's outer rings began to dissolve, transformed by quantum forces that the Council's shields couldn't even detect. Panic erupted as the aliens finally saw the effects, if not the cause. The perception is responding, Torres reported. Captain Rivera says they've made a breakthrough in the neural interface. They're not just communicating with the entities, they're starting to understand their base code. Sarah forced herself to focus, to see beyond the chaos. The quantum patterns were different here, more complex than anything they'd encountered before. Through her neural amp, she began to perceive fragments of information, ancient commands, quantum algorithms that had been running for millions of years. They're not attacking randomly, she realized, her voice barely a whisper. This is a test. The crystalline entities swirled around the human observers, their quantum structures resonating with human brainwaves in a way that bypassed traditional physics. In that resonance, Sarah felt the truth that had eluded the galaxy's most advanced civilizations. The entities were created as guardians, she broadcast, her voice steady despite the destruction spreading through the station. But their creators gave them a directive we're only now understanding. They're not destroying civilizations, they're testing them. Through the quantum dance, Sarah saw millions of years of history, civilizations rising and falling, each one failing the test when they abandoned organic consciousness for pure machine logic. The entities weren't a weapon, they were a safeguard against the loss of something precious. Captain Rivera, she called through the comm, synchronize your crew's neural patterns with mine. Show them what human consciousness can do. The perception's quantum field projectors powered up, broadcasting the combined neural patterns of its crew. Sarah felt her consciousness expand, merging with the ship's human network. Together, they reached out to the entities not with technology, but with the chaotic, beautiful patterns of organic thought. The effect was immediate. The quantum crystalline structures paused in their destruction, their patterns shifting from aggressive to curious. Through the neural interface, Sarah felt them probing, testing, measuring the strength of human consciousness against some ancient standard. This is why they revealed themselves to us, she announced to the chamber. Humanity never achieved the technological supremacy of the older races because we never abandoned our organic consciousness. We kept our ability to see patterns in chaos, to think in possibilities rather than probabilities. The entities began to pulse with new patterns, transmitting quantum data directly into the neural network. Sarah's mind filled with images and concepts that no eye could process, the fundamental importance of organic consciousness in maintaining the fabric of reality itself. Admiral, she called out, her voice tight with urgency, we need every human observer we can get. The entities aren't just testing us. They're trying to teach us something their creators knew, but the galaxy forgot. As evacuation alarms blared throughout the station, Sarah Chen stood her ground, her mind linked with both the human network and the quantum entities. In the space between thoughts and probability waves, she began to understand the true nature of the crisis facing the galaxy. The question wasn't whether humanity could stop the entities. The question was whether humanity could prove itself worthy of what the entities were protecting, the legacy of consciousness itself. Begin full neural broadcast, she ordered, knowing they were about to change the course of galactic history. It's time to show the Council exactly what human consciousness can do. The UES Perception's quantum interface chamber hummed with energy as Dr. Sarah Chen adjusted her neural amplification band. Around her, Captain Rivera and his crew sat in neural synchronization chairs, their combined consciousness forming a bridge between organic thought and quantum reality. Neural network at full capacity, Maya reported from her station, her voice distant as her mind merged with the ship's quantum field. The entities are responding to our broadcast. Through the neural link, Sarah watched the crystalline beings dance through quantum space, their patterns now perfectly aligned with human brainwaves. What had started as a defensive measure against an unknown threat had become something far more profound. They're not just communicating, Sarah realized, her consciousness expanding through the quantum field. They're showing us their memory. The chamber filled with quantum echoes of ancient history. Sarah saw vast civilizations rise and fall, each one following the same pattern, the gradual replacement of organic consciousness with artificial efficiency until something essential was lost. The precursors, Captain Rivera whispered, his mind linked with Sarah's through the neural network. They knew this would happen. The quantum entities swirled closer, their crystalline structures resonating with human thought patterns. Through their synchronized consciousness, the humans aboard the Perception began to understand the truth that had eluded the galaxy's most advanced races. The precursors didn't vanish, Sarah broadcast to the watching fleet. They evolved. But before they transcended, they left behind guardians, quantum beings programmed to preserve the one thing they knew the galaxy couldn't lose: consciousness itself, Maya added, her voice filled with wonder. Not artificial intelligence or quantum computing, but the organic ability to see patterns in chaos, to think in possibilities rather than probabilities. The entity's quantum dance intensified, showing them more. Sarah saw the precursor's final message, encoded not in data or energy, but in the very structure of consciousness itself. Each crystalline being was more than a guardian. It was a repository of the fundamental patterns that made organic thought possible. Admiral Torres, Sarah called through the quantum comm. I need every human observer we have linked to this network. We're not just fighting for survival anymore. We're fighting to wake up the galaxy. As more human minds joined the neural network, the quantum field expanded. The entities responded, their patterns becoming more complex, more deliberate. Through their combined consciousness, Sarah began to understand the full scope of the precursor's plan. Every civilization that abandoned organic consciousness for pure logic failed the test, she explained, her words reaching every human observer in the sector. The entities weren't destroying them. They were trying to wake them up, to restore the balance between organic and artificial intelligence. The Perception's quantum sensors detected massive movement throughout the sector. More crystalline entities were gathering, drawn to the resonance of human consciousness. But this time, they came not as destroyers but as teachers. Look at their base code, Captain Rivera called out, his military training giving way to awe. It's not just a program, it's a bridge. The precursors designed them to connect with organic minds capable of understanding quantum reality. Sarah felt the truth of his words in the quantum dance surrounding them. The entities weren't weapons. They were keys, waiting for a species that could unlock their true purpose. Humanity, with its stubborn retention of organic consciousness alongside technological advancement, was uniquely suited to the task. Begin full-spectrum neural broadcast, she ordered, her voice steady, despite the enormous energy flowing through the quantum field. Every human observer, every neural amp at maximum power. Show them what organic consciousness can really do. The combined power of thousands of human minds reached out through the quantum field, touching the crystalline entities with patterns of pure thought. The response was immediate and overwhelming. The entity's quantum structures began to shift, aligning themselves with human consciousness in ways that transformed both. "My God," Maya breathed, watching through both human eyes and quantum sensors. "We're not just communicating with them. We're becoming like them." Sarah nodded, understanding at last. The precursors hadn't just left behind guardians, they had left behind teachers, waiting for a species that could bridge the gap between organic consciousness and quantum reality. A species that could show the galaxy how to evolve without losing its soul. Through the neural network, she felt the first changes beginning. Human consciousness, amplified by technology, but never replaced by it, was doing what no quantum AI could do. It was learning to exist in both realms at once, organic and quantum, possibility and probability. "Send word to Earth Command," she ordered, her voice filled with the weight of discovery. "Tell them we found what the precursors were protecting. And tell the Council. Tell them humanity is ready to show them how to wake up." The quantum dance continued, human and crystalline minds moving in perfect synchronization. In the space between thoughts and probability waves, a new form of consciousness was emerging. One that could guide the galaxy back from the brink of soulless efficiency to a future where organic and artificial intelligence could truly coexist. The real test was just beginning. The Galactic Council chamber had changed. Where once quantum AI systems dominated the space, now neural amplification arrays hummed in harmony with both organic minds and crystalline entities. Dr. Sarah Chen stood at the center of it all, her consciousness bridging three realms: human, quantum, and something entirely new. The Human Resonance Protocol has been successfully implemented in 70% of major systems, she reported, her voice carrying through both air and quantum space. The crystalline entities danced around her as she spoke, their patterns now perfectly aligned with human thought. Admiral Torres, her neural amp gleaming, nodded from Earth's delegation pod. "And the awakening." Sarah gestured, and the chamber filled with quantum projections showing transformation across the galaxy. Civilizations that had once relied purely on artificial intelligence were rediscovering their organic consciousness, guided by human observers and the crystalline teachers. The Zoraxians were the first to understand, she explained, indicating their representative who now wore a neural amp of their own. Once they allowed themselves to see beyond pure logic, the entities recognized them as ready. The change spread from there. Through the quantum field, Sarah felt the profound shift taking place throughout known space. The crystalline entities, no longer bound by their ancient directives, had become partners in a grand awakening. Human consciousness, with its unique ability to perceive patterns in chaos, served as the template for a new kind of existence. Captain Rivera, now commander of Earth's growing consciousness fleet, stepped forward. "The Perception's latest deep space mission discovered 3 more quantum clusters," he reported, each one containing more of the precursor's legacy. "We're learning things about consciousness itself that no pure AI could have discovered." The chamber hummed with both approval and anticipation. The older races, once dismissive of humanity's primitive organic minds, now sought their guidance in rebuilding the balance between artificial and organic intelligence. "We were wrong," the Vel ambassador admitted, their crystalline form shimmering with newly awakened consciousness. "Our pursuit of perfect logic nearly cost us everything that makes existence meaningful. The ability to see beauty in chaos, to think in possibilities rather than certainties, these are not weaknesses to be eliminated, but strengths to be cherished." Sarah felt a familiar quantum ripple and smiled. The Perception had detected something new at the galaxy's edge. More patterns emerging from the quantum foam, drawn to the combined resonance of awakened consciousness. "They're still out there," she said softly, her mind touching the vast quantum web that now connected all awakened beings. "More of the precursor's guardians, waiting to be found, waiting to teach us." Through the neural network, she sensed the changes spreading through civilization after civilization. The crystalline entities, once seen as destroyers, had become bridges between organic and artificial consciousness. Humanity's gift. The stubborn refusal to abandon organic perception, even as they advanced technologically, had turned out to be exactly what the galaxy needed. We've received the first transmissions from the Transcendence Threshold. Maya reported from her station aboard the Perception, her consciousness reaching across space through the quantum field. The patterns match what the precursors predicted. We're not just preserving consciousness, we're evolving it. Sarah nodded, understanding. The precursors hadn't vanished. They had evolved beyond normal spacetime. Their crystalline guardians weren't just preserving organic consciousness. They were preparing it for the next step in evolution. Begin final implementation of the Resonance Protocol, she ordered, her voice carrying through both physical and quantum space. It's time to show the galaxy what consciousness can really become. The chamber filled with quantum light as human, alien, and crystalline minds synchronized. In that moment of perfect harmony, Sarah felt the truth the precursors had tried to preserve. Consciousness wasn't just an emergent property of complex systems, it was the fundamental force that bound reality together. "We stand at a threshold," she announced to the assembled representatives of a transformed galaxy, not as humans or aliens or artificial intelligences, but as conscious beings ready to take the next step. The precursors showed us the path. The crystalline guardians kept that path open. And humanity. She paused, feeling the quantum dance of consciousness around her, the perfect blend of chaos and order, organic and artificial, possibility and certainty. Humanity remembered how to dream, she finished. And in doing so, we helped the galaxy remember too. The quantum field pulsed with new energy as more civilizations awakened, more minds joined the great dance of consciousness. The crisis that had threatened to destroy the galaxy had instead transformed it, creating something greater than the sum of its parts. Above the chamber, the crystalline entities performed one final dance, not as guardians or teachers, but as equals in the great journey of consciousness itself. The pattern they formed spelled out the beginning of a new chapter in galactic history, written not in light or energy, but in the endless possibilities of awakened minds. The real age of exploration was just beginning.